I'm Bree, and this is the Mercury Podcast. I believe that words are powerful and that they deeply affect the ways in which we process life. Words can change how we think and feel forever. Thank you for entering this space with me, where I use my words to reassemble perspectives, heal, inspire, and bring joy. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Wherever you are roaming this beautiful earth, welcome to the Mercury Podcast. I am here. I am finally here. My voice is ready and I am so excited. I've always been very passionate about communication. It is my profession. It is everything that I've always known. I've also always had a very special relationship with words. And by that I mean, it took me a long time to really comprehend that there's a craftsmanship that comes with putting words together. And ultimately, finding words for people who don't have the words to say something. So I'll give you an example. Whether it's, okay, I need to brand my business, I need to tell a good story, or I just don't know what to say. Help me find the right words. I'm that person. And so I believe, my theory is that if we choose better words, we'll have better thoughts, we'll have healthier actions, and better placement of where we attach our feelings. Okay? Because words incite feelings. Feelings determine our actions, and those actions allow us to live those feelings out in full force, right? So whatever you're meditating on, most times when you feel weird, when you're just feeling bad, it's because you're either accepting a group of words that someone said to you, words, sentences, that's speech, right? You're accepting what has been said and just ruminating on that. Or, for my overthinkers out there, hello, me too. You are telling yourself something, or you are reliving a story in your head. You're saying something to yourself. So we need to kind of dissect that a little bit, because I believe there's a lot of things that are being said, but they aren't being processed. So let's dive right in. Every week, I'm going to select a word, a group of words, or a phrase that I believe needs to be reassembled and attached with new meaning, or removed completely and exchanged for something else. Okay, now, this is probably going to ruffle some feathers. This might actually be your favorite quote ever, okay? But I just have to get this one out. I am so tired of it. It just needs to be removed, okay? So, drum roll, please. An all-time favorite classic bumper sticker, Instagram post, most likely to be printed on a t-shirt or tattooed on your wrist or ankle or back somewhere. The words, the phrase, let it go. Let it go. Now, unless you are watching my girls Anna and Elsa do their thing in the snow, please stop this. Please stop sharing it. Stop posting it. Stop saying it to your friends. Stop saying it to your family. This has got to go. Okay? This has got to go. It needs to go. Because it's impossible to let something go. Please be honest with me now. Be really honest with me. When you're going through something and someone says, just let it go, how helpful is that? For me, I honestly always feel 10 times worse. Especially when someone else tells you to do it. It's like, it's been 2 years. You haven't let that go yet. It's been 5 years. That was grade 3. Seriously? But you have kids now. But you're married now, like we're grown. You need to just let that go. That is not helpful at all. Does that make you feel good? That just doesn't make you feel good when you're trying to process something and then someone comes and tells you to let it go. And if you're saying that to someone, then it's quite obvious that that person has not processed that event or that experience. And if you still feel some type of way about a certain situation, then you yourself have tried to bury it so deep that it just keeps resurfacing. And that could be in different ways. That could be in a new job, that can be in a new relationship, because you've buried some things so deep that those things are bound to resurface again. And the more you repeat the word, let it go, or someone tells you to let it go, that to me is a huge red flag just flapping itself in the wind. That is the time for you to check in with yourself, be honest with yourself, and say that I need to really look at this and stop trying to erase it from my memory. Because you can't. It's humanly impossible. There's such a sense of emptiness with that word. Because, again, going back to what I said in the beginning, words incite feelings. Those feelings determine our actions. And then those actions allow us to live those feelings out. So what do you end up doing? You end up going somewhere to try to get full. To try to fill that moment in space where you let that situation go. So you try to fill it with something else. And there are hundreds of things that we all do as unique individuals to allow us to try and forget something. And that's always followed by, you just need to take your mind off of it. Having something on your mind is not a bad thing. If it keeps showing up, it's not a bad thing. It's just, I think the formula that we're getting wrong is how we're processing it, what you're doing with that situation playing over in your head, how you're actually breaking it up so that you feel good, so that you take something from it and then you toss what you don't need. But there's no need to beat yourself up about feeling bad about something. I think we spend so much time feeling bad about feeling bad. And your feelings and your body, they are signaling out to you that something is wrong. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And with that, I would love to introduce a new word for you to store in your cortex, as scientists would say, into the atlas where all of your words are stored. And that is, sit with it. Sit with it. Just sit with it. Just sit with it. Just sit. Just sit with it. I think the word sit incites a feeling of rest, calmness, stillness, and clarity. You are inviting that situation into your space. You're acknowledging that it's there. And you are willing to try and understand what led you to this moment. For the first time in my entire life, I just sat with myself. And let me just preface it by saying this. I moved to an entirely new city 2 weeks before we were on lockdown, so there's that, and then there's life on top of that, right? This was alone time times 100, okay? Like, this was not your average, I'm just gonna take some time to do some reading. I'm just gonna, detach and turn my phone off for a bit. What? Like, no, your phone was on all the time because that was the only human interaction you had that day. So that forced me to just look at myself and to remember my body. I know we're talking a lot about the mind, but the presence of my actual body was something that I had never experienced before. I started listening to it more. And like, I'm not talking about working out because you need to be fit, you need to be healthy, you need to exercise three times a week. I'm not talking about that. I think that has been programmed into us from a very young age. You need to exercise. And we find so many ways to do that. But what I'm talking about is listening to your body. And just talking about it brings up a lot of emotions. Because there were times when, and let me just say this. Let me put it this way. Your body is always speaking to you. When you feel an uneasiness in your stomach, that's what I'm talking about. When you feel tension in your neck, you have a really, really bad headache. Or your eyes are just pulsating. Or your back is just inflamed. And your chest, there just feels like a heaviness on your chest. Or you're sleeping all the time. Or you're crying all the time. Or you're just you just feel so much rage. All of that, your body is trying to communicate to you that something that happened to you before is not processed yet. There was a period of time where I thought I had low iron. I was like, I must be anemic. Something is wrong. Because for someone with the amount of energy that I have, there's no way that I'm sleeping this much or my energy levels are this low. Something is wrong. Turns out that I was just processing. I was just processing my grief. I started to acknowledge that, yes, that did actually happen to you. You did actually go through that. That person did do that to you. This thing is no longer here. This person is no longer here. You are going through a pandemic. You are trying your best. You're doing such a good job. Even when you don't feel like it. And so those things started coming up to the surface. And I was just amazed at what I had been running away from, or forcing myself to believe that I had let go, but I still needed to work on those things. My mind felt fine, but my body was still trying to catch up, because what a lot of people don't like to really acknowledge is that your body remembers everything. I mean, every single thing. Any argument that you've had, any experience that you've had throughout the years of your life is stored in your body. And there has been studies done on this that I won't get into because then we'll never finish the podcast. But that's the real thing. So instead of beating myself up about sleeping so much and not feeling energized to do things and feeling bad about feeling bad, essentially, I had to surrender, and I had to say, body, I am going to allow you to process. I'm going to sleep if you need sleep. I'm going to cry if I need to cry. I'm going to dance if I need to dance. And then you just become so kind, so kind, and so tender with how you speak to yourself and how you manage your own little world. And that is just such a very eye-opening experience. And you can only be taught this once you sit down and try to learn and figure out all the answers that were already there. And also, it's self-healing, that this whole process. The body can heal itself. That's how God created us. When we get a cut and an open wound is there, it looks really bad. It looks really nasty. But we know that it will scab and it will heal. And you may still have a little scar, but you will be able to move forward. So for me, what I thought was abnormally strange hours of having to sleep so much, and I'm talking about some really long hours of sleeping in the middle of the day, was my body saying, I need to sleep. I know you're not used to it, but I need to sleep some more so I can process. And that's the beauty. When your mind and your body create this equilibrium. Yes, that is it. This symmetry of your mind and your body working together to help you to process. When you simply make the decision to just sit with it, to rest on the idea that you will get through, and that whatever it is that you have experienced or are experiencing will give you the fortitude to heal and deal with life in all its colors. The closing music is here, and I think I have to wrap it up. I'm gonna miss you guys until next week. My stars, my beautiful and unique stars, because that is what you are. Thank you for traveling to my planet. And I just want to say that I love you, I appreciate you, and I am so proud of you. Those are words we need to say more to each other. So, until next time, take care. Thank you so much for listening. And if you'd like to follow me on my own personal journey, let's take this party to Instagram at The Life of Bree. And that's BRE with 5 E's.